What's the most overrated and underrated thing in every land of Hollywood studios? You're about to find out. Hey everybody, it's Molly. I'm back with another Overrated Underrated, a series where I take you around the Disney parks and let you know what the most overrated and underrated thing is in each section of the park. I hope you're excited. We've got some fun things on the list today, maybe some things you didn't know about. Excited to see your comments down below as well. As I say your favorite thing is overrated, I'm sorry. In advance, I'm sorry. Overrated's not necessarily bad, you know, it just means it gets a lot of hype. Anyway, we'll get into it. Let's get into the park. To kick things off in Hollywood Studios, we are starting at Hollywood Boulevard. This is that main street right here that takes you into the park, brings you all the way down to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This also includes places like the Hollywood Brown Derby and all of the stores along the way. So what could possibly be overrated or underrated here on just a simple street? You're not gonna believe me when I say that I think the most overrated thing on Hollywood Boulevard is the Trolley Car Cafe. And yes, that is the Starbucks here in Hollywood Studios. But please, let me explain. First things first, a lot of people think Starbucks is overrated to begin with. I am not one of those people, but that argument could be made. Second thing, because there's not a Joffrey's cart on your way into Hollywood Studios like there is at all the other parks, there's one right outside Epcot, there's one right outside Animal Kingdom, there's one at the Transportation and Ticket Center for Magic Kingdom. This is the first place that you can get coffee when you're at this park. So the line is always very, very long, which is kind of a bummer if you're trying to start your busy day here at Hollywood Studios, especially if you're trying to rope drop Rise of the Resistance. You don't want to wait in a long coffee line, but you're probably going to have to. And number 3, Joffrey's is more unique, it's more magical for most people. They drink Starbucks anywhere in the country, but they don't drink Joffrey's. So to me, Joffrey's is the better choice. And lastly, while they do occasionally have a good, unique treat in here, they do have that carrot cake cookie inside Starbucks. Starbucks treats, generic. You can get them at the airport on your layover in Kansas City. So why would you get in Disney World? You know what I mean? You get it. So with a land with not much, the most overrated thing has to be the Starbucks. But you know, I'm gonna get one just to make sure I'm right. Yeah, that feels overrated. No, it doesn't. It tastes like a delicious iced coffee. The same iced coffee I'm going to get at an airport or a Target. They were efficient, they were fast, but the line's really long because it's the first coffee shop. And in general, Starbucks is kind of overrated to some people. So if you want to get Starbucks, I think that you should. I think you should enjoy it. Enjoy it on Sunset with the music. It's lovely. I do it all the time. But just know there's better, more unique coffee, and there's now that unique cold brew in Galaxy's Edge. So with a land, again, not a lot on here, we got to give it to Starbucks. But let's go talk about the most underrated thing in this area. Projected on this theater nightly, that is the projection shows. There's Disney Movie Magic, and there's the Wonderful World of Animation. Now, currently in Hollywood Studios, there's not a nighttime spectacular. Fantasmic still hasn't returned. So the only nighttime entertainment, again, are these 2 projection shows on the Chinese theater. They are awesome. They are so fun. They are so underrated. They might be one of the most underrated things in all of Disney World. Anytime I talk about them, I'm always singing their praises. They are basically 2 very large movie montages projected on the Chinese theater and the building surrounded, and it does have a little fireworks. It has a great soundtrack. The first one, Disney Movie Magic, is mostly about live-action Disney films. Think Indiana Jones, think Star Wars, think Guardians of the Galaxy, Mary Poppins, Pirates of the Caribbean. So the soundtrack is amazing, as you can expect. And the second one, Wonderful World of Animation, is all about Disney animation. It features clips from every single Disney animated film and Pixar animated film. It's got an incredible soundtrack, and Walt Disney makes an appearance, which waterworks over here. And what's great about both these nighttime shows is, unlike Harmonious, unlike Enchantment, you don't have to be out here for a long time stalking out a perfect spot. You can walk up just a few minutes beforehand and be able to see the show. Now, I'm not saying you need to make special plans around coming to these shows the way you would with the other fireworks, but if you're going to be in Hollywood Studios in the evening, these are just a really nice kiss on top of an amazing day. So I adore these shows. I encourage everyone to see them. They warm my heart. They're simple, wonderful shows, a perfect end to your day in Hollywood. See, and here I am. I said you're gonna be mad because I said your favorite thing is overrated, and I literally said my own favorite thing is overrated. So no one is safe. Moving our way down Sunset Boulevard now. This was the largest expansion of the park after it opened until, of course, Galaxy's Edge. This opened up in 1994 because they needed a new thrill ride, and Tower of Terror at the end of the street was that. And Tower of Terror maintains its popularity today. Still one of the most popular rides in all of Walt Disney World, not just this park. which is why it's going to be crowned our most overrated. Did I get you? Did you think I was going to really say Tower of Terror is overrated? It's not. It's wonderful. Oh man, can you imagine? People would be mad. The real most overrated thing in this land is a dining location. We're headed upon it now, and it's the Sunset Ranch Market. Sunset Ranch Market is this outdoor dining location that's composed of a couple of different spots. You've got Rosie's All-American Cafe. That's where you can get things like burgers, hot dogs, chicken breast nuggets, kind of your classic theme park food. You've got Catalina Eddie's, which is where you can get puffy pizza like that at Pizza Rizzo or Pizza Fari. You've got Fairfax Fare, which is hot dogs, including some gourmet hot dogs. And you've got Hollywood Scoops, which is hand-scooped ice cream. But the reason that this dining location gets the crown of overrated is because it's simply generic. I know. I love a cheeseburger and chicken breast nuggies as much as the next person, and up until recently, you could make an argument that none of the food in Hollywood Studios was that good. But I don't think you can say that anymore with the expansion of Galaxy's Edge, with things like Baseline Tap House, Woody's Lunchbox, the revamp over at ADC Commissary. So because of that, because this is just the most basic of all theme park food, and because of the fact that it's outside, who wants to sit outside in these conditions? It's 100 degrees today. No one wants to eat a cheeseburger outside. Because of that, Sunset Ranch Market is going to get the most overrated on our list. One point in favor of Sunset Ranch Market is the Victory Garden right here, Rosie's Victory Gardens, Victory with Vegetables. This whole area is themed after the World War II times. So Victory Gardens were things that popped up when food production was low. A lot of ladies and people at home started having their own gardens so that they'd be able to help with food production, and they called them Victory Gardens. So points to the All-American Cafe for this little Easter egg in the back, but that's the nicest thing I can say. And the most underrated thing on Sunset Boulevard, I gotta give it up for your friend and mine, Lightning McQueen at Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. This is a newer show that I feel like does not get a lot of attention and doesn't get a lot of love. It is not a must-do for most people, but Lightning McQueen Racing Academy is a short show featuring Lightning McQueen as well as some of the other characters from the Cars franchise as Lightning McQueen learns how to drive on the new auto track. But unfortunately, some of the bad cars interfere. Now, the reason I put this show as the most underrated thing, one, if you are a Cars fan, which I know a lot of little ones are, this is a great attraction for them to do while older kids, taller kids and adults are doing things like Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. Number two, it's in the air conditioning, and you can't tell me you don't want to sit down for 15 minutes in the AC. Number three, there is actually some pretty good adult humor in there. So parents, if you're taking those kids who can't ride Tower of Terror into the show, I promise you'll at least chuckle a little bit at some of the good jokes. And number four, even if you don't care about any of those other things I just said, you might care about Disney animatronics, and the Lightning McQueen audio animatronic is incredible. It's slept on. It does not get mentioned enough in the conversation, along with Hondo Ohnaka and the Shaman of Song and the top tier Disney animatronics. This is an incredible animatronic. Again, I don't think Lightning McQueen Racing Academy needs to be a must-do or a top priority for most people, but if you're looking for something to do to get yourself out of the heat, laugh a little bit, please the Cars fan in your family, well, this is it. Ka-chow. We've made it to Animation Courtyard on our little journey around Disney's Hollywood Studios, and you might be thinking, what's going to be overrated and underrated there? I guess I could call Voyage to the Little Mermaid overrated, considering it's literally still not even open again. But I won't. That feels like cheating, also biased to Ursula. I could call Star Wars Launch Bay overrated, and I probably would have a few weeks ago, but now you can meet Darth Vader again, so that's pretty cool, and I'm honestly afraid to tell Darth Vader he's overrated. And I could call the Disney Junior Dance Party overrated because it's got such a niche audience and really only appeals to toddler-aged children and their families. But you know what? I'm not going to do any of those things, because when I looked on a map of Disney's Hollywood Studios for the first time in can't tell you how long, because I obviously know how to get around, I had to figure out what was in all the lands, because these lands are not as distinct as like the World Showcase pavilions or the lands in Magic Kingdom, and technically everything down through this way is still part of Animation Courtyard. First up, Walt Disney Presents. Now, this is obviously the underrated choice. I want to make that very clear. Walt Disney Presents is a multi-part experience. You've got Walt Disney One Man's Dream, which is a short film about Walt Disney narrated by Julie Andrews. Cue the waterworks. Sometimes they swap that out for a preview of an upcoming Pixar, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, etc. film. You can also meet James P. Sullivan, everyone's favorite scare. But most importantly, inside Walt Disney Presents, it is a museum and a tribute to the man himself, Walter Elias Disney. And they've got some really cool things in here. They've got one of the original animatronics from Great Moment with Mr. Lincoln. You can see how audio animatronics work. They've got some things that Walt Disney actually owned. They've got a little bit about the history of Disneyland and the Mickey Mouse Club. It's a really great exhibit. My only fault with it is that it used to be bigger and they shut some of it down. There's also props in here from building the Disney parks as well as Disney films. They rotate out different costumes that were screen used in Disney movies. So I think that this exhibit should be a must visit for all. You gotta pay homage to the man who dreamt up all this magic. Plus it's in the air conditioning. Plus it's not usually too crowded. You can sit down for a little bit watching the movie. So for sure the most underrated thing here, One Man's Dream. Which leads me to the most overrated thing in this section. And I'm gonna have to call it the market right here. I know, did you even know this existed? It barely does. Now I'm gonna put a loophole on this. The one thing that is the exception here at the market is Jack Jack's Num Num Cookie. That's that really yummy chocolate chip cookie themed after The Incredibles. It debuted back when Municiberg at Pixar Place was a thing. They don't have that anymore, but you can still get the Num Num Cookie. But besides that, here at the market, you're not gonna get really anything special. Literally, they sell bags of Doritos and Lay's for $2.99 for a tiny bag. They sell a banana for $2.29, and then they sell like some generic slushies and muffins and things like that. They may do a hot dog or churro, etc. Stands by my traditional Disney rule that if you're going to eat something in Disney World, feel like it should be something special and unique to Disney World, which is why the Jack Jack's Num Num Cookie gets the exception here, but mostly you can find better snacks throughout the park. Making our way into Toy Story Land. I wish that the overrated thing was shade. Because apparently when Andy's mom was making the backyard, she thought umbrellas were overrated. She's like, no tall bushes in this backyard. Open sun for me. Thanks, Andy's mom. And the most overrated thing in Toy Story Land, I'm sad to say, Slinky Dog Dash. I know, it pains me because I love this attraction. I know a lot of you love this attraction, but do you love waiting in a 90-minute line in direct sunlight for this attraction? No, you don't. I don't. Slinky Dog Dash is a great coaster. It's a perfect family coaster. It's a bump up from Barnstormer. It's a bump up from Mine Train, I would say. And it's really fun, and I love to make the terrible pun that it's got more bark than it looks like. I absolutely recommend riding this attraction. Don't get me wrong. What I don't love about this attraction and why people say this attraction is overrated is because the line is incredibly, incredibly long. It is in the direct sunlight, and it runs out of lightning lanes really, really quick. You typically have to be ready to book this one right at 7 a.m. and it's very rare that it pops back up. So because of that, because I looked at things you have said on all your social media about what is the most overrated stuff, Slinky Dog was the most common answer for this land. I'm sorry, Slinky Dog, I love you. I recommend you ride it first thing in the morning, get a lightning lane, or last thing at night. Maybe then it will be less overrated. And the most underrated thing in Toy Story Land, I gotta give it up for Slinky Dog's next door neighbor, the Alien Swirling Saucers. Alien Swirling Saucers is definitely not an E-ticket attraction. It's more like a B or C ticket attraction, but I dare you to ride this attraction and not smile. You're gonna get in a little car pulled by the aliens from Pizza Planet. It's the exact same ride mechanism as Tow Mater's Junkyard Jamboree in Cars Land and Disney California Adventure, and you're gonna whip around for a few minutes with the aliens. I laugh and giggle hysterically every time I ride it because it's just simple, fun, and that we need attractions like that. We need simple, fun attractions. Now, the one bad thing about Alien Swirling Saucers right now is that with lightning lanes, with it being in this park, which is so darn complicated to begin with, it does get a little bit of a longer line recently. So I wouldn't recommend waiting more than 25-ish minutes for it. And I wouldn't recommend using a lightning lane on it if you are trying to pull lightning lanes for Slinky Dog and Tower and Rock and Roller Coaster and Smugglers Run and all the big E-tickets. So it's kind of a weird way, kind of a weird niche that way. However, if you've got kids that aren't tall enough to ride some of those other attractions, if the line is low and you're just looking to do something and have fun, I think you are missing out on Alien Swirling Saucers. We've made it to Echo Lake, friends. This is like a hodgepodge camel of a land, because it's like you've got 50s prime time and Hollywood Divine on that side, and then you got Gertie the Dinosaur, but then you've got Indiana Jones, but technically this land continues all the way to Star Tours. So then you've also got Mickey and Minnie's Vacation Fun and the Frozen show. This is like the most ridiculous land. It's just like a bunch of IP and different classic Hollywood Studios things like shoved together. So what could possibly get our titles here? I'm standing outside of our most underrated. I have screamed about this show, and I will continue to scream about this show. For the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration is the most underrated thing in this land. This is a very cute, about 30-minute show that, of course, features the music of Frozen, and there are appearances by Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff. But the main fun of the show are the narrators. They're telling the story of Frozen, and they are so funny, y'all. Like, I know they're scripted a little bit, but a lot of the stuff they say is different every time and off the cuff, and I laugh out loud every single time. This is another great attraction to get yourself out of the heat, kill some time in between those big lightning lanes, between those big attractions. It usually doesn't have too long of a wait. You can typically come up about 10-15 minutes before showtime, and you'll be able to get a seat. The seats are comfortable, y'all. I really enjoyed this show. I laugh every time. I love when people message me and are like, I saw the Frozen show because you told me to, and it was so good. Thank you. I'm telling you, your little ones are going to like this because you know they like the music of Frozen. Parents, adults, you're going to like it because the jokes are funny, and let's be honest, you also like the music of Frozen. Don't lie to me or yourself. That doesn't get anyone anywhere. B-roll, I'm filming just for you, and no one else will hear my song, but I felt like singing it just for you, 'cause you're probably bored, waiting for me to get to the next thing I have to talk about. Guess what? We're at another restaurant for Overrated, and I know you're like, Molly, could you stop giving overrated things to food? But like, I'm sorry, there's not a lot in this park. There's like 7 rides and food and 4 shows. So a lot of it is gonna be food. And this time it's Backlot Express. Now, I do like Backlot Express more than Sunset Ranch Market because at least part of the seating is inside, but it's more or less the same menu. It's gonna be burgers, chicken strips, a few varieties of the same thing. They've got a chicken sandwich sometimes, but again, it's pretty mediocre every time I've been, and there's better food in the park. Now, once again, I'm gonna make an exception for a cookie because for some reason Hollywood Studios is the home to many a good cookie, and here it's the Wookiee cookie. This is like an oatmeal cream pie that's decorated to look like Chewbacca, and it's delicious. It's my favorite of all the cookies we've mentioned thus far. So, I do love a good Wookiee cookie. You can get that here. But as far as dining in this park goes, I just encourage you to eat something a little bit more unique, a little bit different. It may not be as obvious as eating around the world at Epcot, but there is good food in this park, and I just want you to be aware of it. We've made it to Commissary Lane, where there's literally 3 things for me to choose from on this overrated, underrated journey. So I'm gonna give them to you and give you a few seconds to think how you'd rank these things. First of all, we've got meeting Mickey and Minnie in Red Carpet Dreams, where you can meet Mickey in a sorcerer outfit, Minnie in a Hollywood glam look. We've got the ABC Commissary, an indoor dining location with some unique offerings, such as a buffalo chicken grilled cheese. And we've got the classic sci-fi dine-in theater, where you can eat a burger in a convertible and watch old-timey sci-fi films like you're in the 50s, all right? Everyone got their ranking in their brain? You got it? You got it? You got it? All right, then here's what I'm gonna say. Overrated is obviously not Mickey and Minnie. Are you crazy? You can't say Mickey and Minnie are overrated. No. But you can say sci-fi diners overrated. I love a cheeseburger as much as the next person. I have very fond memories of eating at Sci-Fi Diner as a child. But Sci-Fi Diner is one of those restaurants that for a lot of people is like a one and done. You're paying the money to sit inside there for the environment. It's not necessarily the food. The burgers are good. They're not amazing. They're definitely better than a quick service burger, but they're not as good as a burger that you could get at like Deluxe Burger at Disney Springs for less money. Maybe you too have fun family memories of eating in those cars, but generally speaking, if you're just looking for a meal, Sci-Fi Diner is not going to be the best meal that you can eat, and it's going to be really expensive. So again, I only have 3 things to choose from, so I like Sci-Fi just fine. I like 50s more though. Which means it's probably not surprising after I've been singing its praises over and over again in this video. ABC Commissary is our most underrated thing on Commissary Lane. ABC Commissary a few years ago, I would not have given this title. It had very generic food, just like a lot of the other places we talked about today. And the theming is lackluster at best. It could be really cool. They do have a couple props from various ABC shows, but there's not a lot going on. But you know what? You know what ABC Commissary does have going on? Air conditioning and good food. And you know what? That's all I need when I'm hot and in a theme park sometimes. They've got an amazing buffalo chicken grilled cheese, which is one of my favorite sandwiches in all of Walt Disney World. They've got shrimp tacos, pork tacos, a variety of bowls, a couple healthier options. It's just a little bit more elevated, a little bit more unique than your classic burgers, chicken nuggets, and pizza. So if you're going to eat at a quick service restaurant in Hollywood Studios that's not overly themed in Toy Story Land or Galaxy's Edge, this is the one that I recommend. It does have mobile order. Highly recommend using that as well so that you don't have to wait in a long line to pay. But if you're going to sit down and eat somewhere in Hollywood Studios, again, I like ABC Commissary a lot, and I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. Grand Avenue, a shell of what it once was. And again, I'm left with like 3 things to choose from: Pizza Rizzo, Mama Melrose, and Muppet Vision 3D. So again, if you'd like to play along at home, guess what you think the most underrated and overrated thing is, or let me know down in the comments what your choices are. In 3, 2, 1, I'm revealing the answers. The most overrated is obviously Pizza Rizzo. I know, you're shocked that I picked another quick service restaurant, but this one, if there's one that's overrated, it's Puffy Pizza. Especially knowing that Pizza Rizzo could have been so much more. It was supposed to have audio animatronic rats bring you the pizza. It was supposed to have Swedish Chef and the chickens cooking. It was supposed to be Gonzo's Pizza Pandemonium Pizza Parlor, and instead we got Pizza Rizzo. I wanted it to be so much more. So we got to give it to Pizza Rizzo and its sad puffy pizzas for the most overrated. But, in no surprise at all, Muppet Vision 3D is our most underrated thing in this area. You know why? Because the Muppets are national treasures. We love the Muppets around here. They're hysterical. They're adorable. And you know what else we love? Sitting down in air conditioning. And this thing combines 2 of my greatest loves: Muppets and sitting down in air conditioning. Not only is the queue adorable and hilarious with a bunch of sight gags from the Muppets, the pre-show will make you giggle with the antics of Sam Eagle and Gonzo and Rizzo, and the show itself is hilarious. It's a continuous show. It never really has too long of a line. There's no need to use a lightning lane here. You could just pop in line and usually just wait for the current show to empty out, and then it'll be your turn. It's a great filler attraction. It's a delightful show. It's one of my favorites. And yeah, that's our most underrated in a shocking twist, I'm sure. Bright suns, everybody. We've made it to our final land, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Undeniably one of the most popular lands in all of Walt Disney World. Lots to offer between 2 big attractions, lots to eat. You've got Oga's Cantina, you can make a lightsaber, you can make a droid. Tons and tons to do here in this land. This land was harder for a different reason, and that is there's so much to choose from. We have the luxury of choice here. What to call overrated, what to call underrated. You could make an argument for several things, but let's start with overrated so we're ending on a positive note. It's Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. Now, I'm not saying the Millennium Falcon, obviously, this is amazing. This is incredible, a life-size replica of the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. We love it, take your picture here. But, much like Slinky Dog Dash, this line gets an incredibly, incredibly long line. It's 115 minutes right now. That's almost 2 hours. Rise is only at 85. Can you imagine waiting 2 hours for Smugglers Run and less than an hour and a half for Rise? Couldn't be me. Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run is a great attraction. Again, not disparaging the attraction. It is where you get to go into the cockpit of the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs with 5 of your friends. You're going to have 2 pilots, best position, 2 gunners, and 2 engineers, and you're going on a little adventure to pick up some goods for Hondo Ohnaka. It is a very fun, interactive attraction. But for a few reasons, we got to put it on the overrated list. Number 1, there's too much variability. So much of this ride depends on who's in the cockpit with you. If you do not have 5 friends with you, it can be really awkward. If some kid you don't know gets to be the pilot, you can't yell at that kid. You can yell at a kid in your own family, but you can't yell at a stranger's kid. It's also a huge bummer if you wait 2 hours and then you don't get to be the pilot. You can ask, though. I want to make it clear. You can ask to be whatever position you want, but that will increase your wait time. And if you go single rider, which will decrease your wait time by quite a bit, you're one riding in the back of a bunch of strangers intruding on their family memories like I'm always doing, and you're basically guaranteed to be the engineer, which is pretty much universally accepted as the worst position. There's not a lot of rewritability on this one after you've done all the different positions, because the story doesn't change at all like I think it was supposed to. They kind of said like, oh, what happens on this will impact your trip. It doesn't really, unless you're on the Star Cruiser. The attraction itself, some would consider it to be a letdown, some would consider it not worth the long wait. If you do want to ride Smugglers Run, and I highly encourage you to, especially if you're with a big group and you've got Star Wars fans, either come here first thing in the morning or book that lightning lane. That way you can enjoy the attraction without a 2-hour long wait. And last but certainly not least, the most underrated thing in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Cat Sackas Outpost Mix. This is one of my personal favorite treats in all of Walt Disney World, and I still feel like it doesn't get enough love. I am president of the Cat Sackas fan club. You're welcome to join if you too would like to try this delicious, savory, salty, sweet, and spicy combination of treats. You can get it one place and one place only, Cat Sackas Kettle inside the marketplace, and it's a combination of blueberry lemon pound cake kernels and chili lime kernels. It tastes like spicy tricks, and I don't get why people don't like it. It's a very divisive snack. It's also one that people don't go for often because they're too busy eating Ronto wraps and getting blue milk. And trust me, I get it. You should try those things, but don't sleep on the Cat Sackas. It's a delightful snack. It's something familiar because it's popcorn, but totally unique to Galaxy's Edge, and I can't get enough of it. There you have it, the most underrated and overrated thing in each land of Disney's Hollywood Studios. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let us know down in the comments. In the meantime, friends, it's been magical. Now go watch this video in Magic Kingdom. Bye!